Did I mean what I said about Arizona? Well, yeah. I mean, I like Arizona, but it is kind of a crap can, isn't it? No, it's fine. I like to go to Scottsdale, play golf there, but, they don't like the spooks down there, man. They don't like the brothers in Arizona. They do not. And that old bag that called from Tempe, and I say old bag with all due respect, I'm sure she's a fine woman, has a lot of grand kills. She's had a lot of kills among her grandkids. No, I'm sure she's fine. But she's just a sour old lady, just one of those sour old women who looks furtively through the curtain at the black man delivering the package from Federal Express.
It's a darn good question. Would you be happier down in the Africa area of the world? Or do you want to bring your black hiney up here and have yourself smoked sausage and whatnot?
You're right, Grandma. It's a great question. It's a fantastic question. What a brain surgeon. Would you be happier in Africa or here? They'd be much happier here. All for the, have a couple of people spit on you now and again, call you coon, spook, nigger, whatever. Hey, look, it beats the hell out of being down there in Africa. Come on up to America. It's so good. All for the price of being called nigger. Let me tell you something. You don't have to believe this, and in fact, you shouldn't, because all it does is come out of the mouth of a talk show host. And talk show hosts are about the stupidest class of people in America today. There is nothing dumber, there is nothing less relevant, and there is nothing with less to say than the talk show host of modern America on the radio or TV. But this is a fact. There isn't anything dumber than a white man talking about a black man's problems. I'm telling you, when you hear Whitey spouting off about darkies, it's about as ignorant a conversation and ignorant a stream of thought as you will ever hear in your life. One thing, there's a lot of stuff that white people don't know, but one of the things they really don't know anything about are black folks, the history of black people, their experience in this country. Whites have got no idea. And when I listen to some white trash spouting off on how to be successful in America, and then I tell a black man how to do it. My people come here, and we never own no slave. Yeah, tell me all about it there, Jimmy Dean. You don't know. Buddy, you have to get up on a step ladder to kiss half of their rear ends out there, okay? So just shut it off. God, it's just the most ponderous thing in the world. And I'll tell you something else, because I know a little bit about history. Most white people who claim ancestry, who claim roots in this nation, in America, come from garbage class. They come from a garbage class because the whites that settled this country far and away were indentured servants and garbage from Europe that couldn't get arrested over there, and they came over here to start, planting potatoes out in the sod someplace. Those are the white people that settled this country. All the stories about Thomas Jefferson and the landed gentry and George Washington and Benjamin Franklin and all those other guys with a feather up their rear end, notwithstanding, most of the whites that settled America were landed crap. They were you talk about the unwashed. And by the way, we're off the hook on that Statue of Liberty, aren't we? What did I just read about the fact the Statue of Liberty is actually about something celebrating the end of slavery and has nothing to do with immigration? Now you guys are off the hook. We don't have to take no more immigrants. Because guess what? The Statue of Liberty isn't about immigration. It's about freeing those darkies. So now we don't have to take no more immigrants because that ain't what it's about. Thank you, Jesus. Bet you half of you are jumping up and down celebrating that one, too. And that whole, Arizona, they were the guys that they didn't want that Martin Luther King birthday. Remember when that was going on? And then the National Football League said, well, then you're not going to get a Super Bowl. And then they turned around and they said, that's not fair. You're punishing us for our beliefs. To which the NFL responded, no, we're just doing business with the people we want to do business with, and we're not doing business with the people we don't want to do business with. And guess what? That's business. Let me tell you how a boycott works, because the same thing's going on in South Carolina. It's very amusing. And it's embarrassing for the people who make this claim. The South Carolina is saying, end the boycott, then we'll talk about the flag. I'm embarrassed for them. I'm embarrassed for how stupid they are. Because let me explain to you how a boycott works. The boycott doesn't get ended until you lift the flag thing. The same thing with the Martin Luther King birthday down there in Arizona. They were going to lift no boycott, man, until you instituted the birthday. Guess what? We can do business with anybody we want to do business with. That's how a boycott works. And I'm listening to this thing about, well, when you end the boycott, then we'll talk about the flag. No, dumbass. Doesn't work like that. You lift off that flag, then we'll talk about ending the boycott. That's how it works. You can believe anything you want. People don't have to stop and shop at your Stop and Shop. You can believe anything you want. You can burn crosses anywhere you want to burn crosses. Doesn't mean I got to go to your gas station. Oh, hell, you're punishing me on account of my... You got it there, Ace. There you go. Nice going. That's exactly what I'm doing. I don't want to do business with your crappy gas station or whatever it is you got to sell. When I get Grandma, and then I get that dumbass from Charlotte calling up, and he's just pissed off. He's getting it off of his chest. Look, pal, why don't you go out and find yourself a job? Get an education. Do something to move yourself past wherever it is you're stuck in life. This is the greatest economy in the history of this country, practically, and that dumbass is still... He's on tank wipe. He's still doing tank wipe down there at Hank Hill's Propane Company. That's how pissed off he is, because he can't get a piece of the action. Well, I'm sorry about that. And then Grandma checks in from Tempe. And I love how everybody's so sure that none of their ancestors owned slaves. How do we know? Well, they went back and they researched it. Sure you did. Anyway, I'm not here to fight that war, but I will tell you this. That there comes a time when we draw the line in the sand on this show, man. There's just a certain level of stupidity below which we cannot drop. I won't allow it. I mean, we get pretty dumb here, man, but I cannot allow white folks telling us how it is with the black folks. That's just bullcrap. Next time we do a race issue having anything to do with Black History Month, Mike, just black people, you can tell who, seriously, it's easy to tell who they are. Kind of talk like that. Just take calls from them. And a moratorium on all the calls from Arizona. I remember when I lived in Minnesota, and I was on a 50,000-watt station in Minneapolis. We wouldn't take calls from South Dakota because they were so stupid. It was criminal. They were so stupid. It was criminal. You just would know. I can't do it. And when I was on in Atlanta, as soon as we started getting the calls from Alabama, you limited that to maybe 2 a night. 2 Alabama calls a night. Now, you know. And let's see, in Miami, I had to keep those Puerto Ricans off the air. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Phil Hendrie Show here, 1-800-449... Buttons up, man.
Did I really?
Yeah, it's okay. There it is. So you had everything out of the bus. You had bus 1 and 2 pop. And he was the cock of the walk there in all those Warner Brothers cartoons. Foghorn Leghorn was not only the cock...
Cut it. Cut it!
Good. So how is he? How do you lose a kidney? I guess I got to go get a physical. My wife keeps saying, you better get a physical. I said, gee, you know what? All right, okay, I will. I'm fine. I'm in the pink of health. The sad part about me is I beat the crap out of myself for the last 30 years or whatever it is. I'm great. There ain't a thing wrong with me. Isn't that sad? You can drink, smoke, use drugs, you can do all kinds of stuff, go through a physical exam, not a thing wrong. And a cat like poor old Steven Spielberg, who makes those marvelous films that go something like, you know, a major motion picture experience from the makers. And that poor guy's losing a kidney. He went in and they said, it's got to come out. What's got to come out? A kidney. What, are you kidding me? No. Did you ever find out what was wrong with a kidney? Was there some cancer? I don't know. And well, who else? And then Doug Henning, get a load of him. You know who he is? No, you don't know, Craig. You're only 14. Craig Taylor, my engineer, who's just turned 12. Doug Henning was an engineer. He was a magician. He was a famous engineer. Don't go through that door. Something's waiting for you. From the makers of Alien and Alien 3 comes a motion picture experience so terrifying, you'll lose 6 weeks' worth of lunches. All kinds of undigested food will come flowing from your mouth when you witness Sphere. Outbreak, starring Dustin Hoffman as an Army major who's only 5'1". Right. Yeah, we buy that. Flying from town to town, trying to keep the virulent outbreak from spreading, Dustin Hoffman who looks about as much like a freaking army major as Porky Pig. Morgan Freeman. And a bunch of other guys. So anyway, he's got himself some kind of a bad kid. So Doug Henning, he croaked. He had a liver problem. Huh? Did he drink? I don't know if he drank. No, he had liver cancer. Liver cancer. Guys like that are clean-living guys, aren't they? Doug Henning looked like a clean-living guy. This was a guy who popularized real hip magic. I mean, David Copperfield, all those guys sort of followed in Doug Henning's footsteps, because Henning was the guy, I think, who made the whole city of New York disappear, didn't he? I think he made something like that. New York disappeared. Or the Statue of Liberty, wasn't that day? I don't know who the hell it was, but I know he did some wild-ass stuff like that. Made elephants disappear. I think he disappeared up an elephant's ass once, just, and then came out of its snout. Copperfield made the statue disappear? Well, what did Henning do? He did some stuff, I know. Anyway, that poor guy is gone. He redid the what? He redid the what? The tank? Like Houdini? Oh, he redid that. Oh, okay, well. Do you get off on that as much as you do watching just something disappear? Seeing a guy escape, I don't give a crap. It doesn't do anything for me. Big deal. I know you're going to get out of there, man. You're not going to drown. He's in handcuffs. He's in a straitjacket. He's going to get out. It's never done anything for me. Being buried alive, no. But now making something disappear, that's cool. Sawing somebody in half, that's great. So anyway, yeah, remember when we were talking about that Outbreak film that was with Dustin Hoffman, who is only 5'1"? Somebody said they were up at the Hearst Castle near San Simeon, and the beds were, quote, disturbingly small. And I said, well, what does that mean, disturbingly small? The people were smaller then, because we got off in this talk about Dustin Hoffman being really short for an Army major. And he said, well, he was a doctor. I said, well, still, the Army's not going to let you in 5'1". And in any event, they said, well, the beds up at this Hearst Castle in San Simeon were only about for the size like 4'11". I said, well, why? Because the people were smaller then. I said, how many years ago are we talking about? The 20s and 30s? Well, it couldn't be that. Are you telling me that in 3 or 4 generations or whatever it's been, we've grown to be much bigger than back then everybody was 5'1"? She said, I swear to God, you go to the Hearst Castle, San Simeon, California, the beds that William, whatever his name was, Hearst put in there, are like for midgets. All the beds. Now, what the hell were we eating between then and now that all of a sudden I'm 6 foot? And I don't know how, most guys now are ranging anywhere from 5'8" to 6 foot on up, right? All of a sudden, what happened? Fast food, that's the answer, okay? We started eating crap in our car, and now we're 8 feet tall. Beautiful. We started eating quarter pounders with cheese, and now we've just sprung to the sea. We're towering. We're in the sky someplace. We're the hugest, biggest, baddest, freakiest looking people. If some time traveler came here from like the 16th century, some little midgety Napoleon looking guy, he travels, hi, I'm General Holy. Jesus, where'd you people come from, right? And we're all standing around, towering down, looking down on this little guy with a Napoleon hat, and we're munching on freaking quarter pounders with cheese. So this little guy comes from like the 16th century, and there's a whole bunch of really tall people eating pita pockets and crap like that. He goes, what the hell? I don't know. It's this crap we're eating. Here, try some. It's impossible. I think she's wrong. She's got to be wrong. It can't be that. No. I refuse to believe that in the 1920s, the average height was 5'1". No, like 200 years ago, I can see it, man. You go to a museum, you see all those little midgety costumes. And Napoleon, what was he, 4'6"? It's Phil Hendrie Show here. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. PMS, okay, it's the subject of joke after joke after joke. Men, I guess, to put it as succinctly and simply as possible, just don't get it about PMS. And it's a debilitating condition. It is hormonal. It causes women all kinds of discomfort and can, a lot of times be corrected through diet and things like that. Chris Norton is with us and is putting together a seminar on how to understand, how to cope with, how to communicate with a woman who is suffering from PMS. And Chris, thanks for joining us on the program.
It's my pleasure, Phil. It's good to be on your program, and I hope that I'm able to shed some light on
what PMS stands for.
PMS stands for premenstrual sickness, and it's when a woman starts bitching at you or throwing stuff that basically and I understand what a lot of women mean when they get upset. And
well, what causes it? PMS, premenstrual sickness, premenstrual syndrome?
Yeah, it's caused by hormonal changes among women, and their body chemistry changes once a month when they have their period, and then they start to get very upset, they start to get angry, and they start to, a lot of times, a lot of men have experienced this, they start to get, angry at you. And I understand what a lot of women mean, I think, now by the things they say and the things they do when they have the PMS, but it used to piss me off until I realized that I needed to have sensitivity and to be sensitive to what was going on with the women that I was living with. A lot of women will say very insulting things because of the premenstrual sickness, and it's almost like they're speaking a different language, and it is a different language because the PMS gets them so messed up. So what I did is decided to put down on paper what I'd observed and what helped me through coping with a lot of the women that I lived with who had premenstrual sickness. And I put it down in a pamphlet called How to Ride the Crimson Wave, and also I am looking to start some seminars for men to communicate with a woman suffering from premenstrual sickness, because I think the unsung victims of premenstrual sickness are the husbands and boyfriends, a lot of the women who have that.
All right, you've written How to Ride the Crimson Wave, and you're also doing some seminars. What qualifies you? And I know that you're not a doctor, right?
No, I think that's the thing that makes me different, Phil, from maybe most people that would be doing a seminar like this. I'm not a doctor, but my qualifications, I think, are a lot better. I've been with a lot of women. I don't know how to say it, but I mean, I've lived with a lot of women because that's just been the reality of my life. I'm very, a lot of women think I'm very good looking, and I have lived with a lot of women. Right now, I'm between jobs, so I've tried to put into perspective the things that I've learned about women's, and right now, I'm trying to settle back and understand that. And so what I did during a period of my time when I was writing Ride the Crimson Wave, as I watched a lot of Lifetime television, watched Designer Women, went and saw The English Patient. So I was really just wanted to know what a woman likes and what she means when she says certain things.
All right. Well, in the press release, you're saying that when a woman is premenstrual and she says insulting things, it means something else?
Absolutely. And that's, I think, the number one thing that a man has to understand about the woman that he's with is when she says something to you like, and I had, girlfriends that I lived with, because I lived with a lot of women because I'm, women like me and I'm very good looking, but when she says that...
well, okay, so you lived with a lot of women. How many women have you lived? How old are you, Chris?
I'm 28.
How many women have you lived with?
Off and on since I left home when I was 15. I've lived with probably, like 20 or 25 different women. I mean, mostly those have all been my roommates up until about a year ago. Then I started living with this one guy right now in Redondo Beach.
Okay, so your qualifications are you've been around women romantically.
Yeah, I've been around women romantically, Phil, and I've been around women in a domestic situation. If a woman says something like, if I can say this, like F you.
Okay.
Anytime a woman who has the PMS, who has premenstrual sickness, anytime she says to you, F you or F off or something like that, she really desperately wants you to hold her and just hug her and tell her that everything's going to be okay. And that's the thing, because most guys that I talk to, are really put off by that. But if you can get past that anger and know what she's really trying to say.
Well, you're talking about sheer screaming anger, okay? When a woman has PMS and she's really angry and says something like F you or something insulting like that, she wants instead for a man to hug her or to...
Yeah, to hold her and to hug her. I mean, I had a woman say to me once, get out of my house, And I knew she had the menstrual sickness, and what she meant was, I don't want to be alone. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, she did not want to be alone. She told me to get out of her house, but what it really meant was, and so I stayed there, and I tried to work her. I tried to walk her through it. Another woman that has the PMS, she'll say stuff like, "You are a jerk, you're an uncaring jerk," something like that, and that means I need you more now than ever before.
It sounds like a lot of what the women are saying when they're angry and they have PMS is the opposite of what they mean.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Phil. And that is a great rule of thumb for most men to go by. I had a woman say one time to me, all you ever think about is sex, okay? And she had the menstrual sickness. And she said, all you ever think about is sex. And I knew that what that meant was she wanted it, and she wanted it badly, You got to be able to talk their language. You got to be able to talk to her in her language of the menstrual sickness language. So I offer my services to anyone who has to deal with a premenstrual sickness woman. Anyone has to deal. It's all men. I mean, we're talking about kids who have to deal with their mothers and sisters. We're talking about lawyers trying to understand their female clients, husbands trying to understand their wives. We're talking about male business partners understanding their female business partners. It's a service that we offer, and it's something I think is so important because I don't think even today men understand PMS, premenstrual sickness.
Okay, we're talking to Chris Norton, who is right now writing a series of pamphlets on how to deal with a woman who is premenstrual from a male point of view. And he's also going to be putting together some seminars that he'll be conducting around town. Our number is 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. So, and the title of it is
the title of it is How to Ride the Crimson Wave.
All right, How to Ride the Crimson Wave. And this is to communicate with a woman suffering from premenstrual sickness.
That's correct, Phil.
All right, now you said the unsung victims of premenstrual sickness, premenstrual syndrome, are the husbands and boyfriends.
I think so.
Why do you say that?
Well, I think it's because we're the ones that have to put up with her, bitching and moaning about everything, And in other words, I mean, I know it's bad to what they're going through, but if you're a man and you got to sit and listen to her, morning, noon, and night, because what happens is the menstrual sickness comes once a month, and a lot of times it'll happen during a full moon or whatever. Because I don't know if it happens to you, but a lot of the women that I lived with, it would happen during a full moon. And
no, I've not noticed that.
Well, a lot of times it does, and it happens once a month. And so once a month, you got to listen to this coming at you, and you need to do something about it. So what I decided to do is quit fighting it, Phil, and I think a lot of men fight it. And I think they don't argue back.
I understand that. I've seen guys do that, arguing back and not understanding what a woman's going through. What about physical stuff that she can do?
You mean the woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she should take like Motrin and have, a lot of tampons and stuff. I mean, you have to. I mean, it's bad for them.
No, but I've read, I did a lot of reading up on PMS. No caffeine, no alcohol. That women should stay away from sugar. They should stay away from anything that's going to depress their system. They should stay away from anything that's going to artificially manipulate their biochemistry. Really try to keep it pure and clean. Drink a lot of water. I mean, have you read up anything about that?
I have read a lot of things about that, and it sounds pretty interesting. I mean, where did you read that?
Well, no, where did I read it? I don't know. It's just talking that I've done. It's I know that coffee is bad. If a woman suffers from PMS pretty bad, coffee's terrible. Alcohol's bad. Sugars are bad. You really got to take all of that stuff, all that extracurricular carbohydrate crap, and keep it out of your system. And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So does your book, what I'm asking you, Chris, is How to Ride the Crimson Wave, does this address that, okay?
Yeah, we talk about. I mean, the main thing that we're talking about is how the men deal with it, not how the women was to deal with it. That's all. But I'm just saying how the men deal with it, as opposed to how the women deal with it.
All right, Chris Norton with us, 1-800-449-8686, on how men should deal with premenstrual women. Here is Philadelphia on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, yes.
Hi.
I am just responding to that, whoever he is.
I
didn't get his name.
My name's Chris.
Chris?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm responding to you. First of all, it's premenstrual syndrome, not sickness.
Right.
And riding the crimson wave has to do with period, and premenstrual means before.
Right.
Pre means before.
Right.
And you're saying while she's on her period.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But that's not while she's on her period. That's before she's on her period.
Well, whenever the time when you're getting most emotional is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's
Like,
premenstrual.
I don't know when that happens
before
to you.
Your period.
Well, when does it happen to you?
Before my period.
Okay, all right, okay.
I thought the word pre meant before.
Okay.
And that is when it happens.
Right.
Also, saying whatever she says to you, meaning she means the opposite.
Yeah, I found that to be true. That if she's screaming at you and being very emotional.
Because you're a real good-looking man.
Well, I mean, I found it to be
telling you to get out of your house because she's probably paying all the bills.
No, that's not it. That's not been my experience. My experience has been that when a woman says to you that she wants you to get out of her life and never come back when she's on her period, or when she's premenstrual.
Right. Because the lady's saying this is before her period.
Right. That she really wants you to stay and make love to her. But when a woman's insane with the menstrual, then she don't know what she's talking about.
All right, Chris Norton is with us, and the book is called, or the pamphlet is called, Riding the Crimson Wave. 1-800-449-8686. If you're a man, how do you deal with a woman who is premenstrual? Chris Norton on the line to tell us a little bit about that. It's the Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. So we got Chris Norton on the phone here from Redondo Beach, California. He is, you don't have any professional credential, Chris, other than the fact that you're just a guy who's lived with a lot of women. You've been around a lot of women.
Yeah, Phil, I think that's credential enough. In other words, I bring my practical experience with women to the table, and I've written this pamphlet called "How to Ride the Crimson Wave" on how to deal with women who have PMS or the menstrual sickness or the menstrual syndrome, I should say. So I offer my services to anybody who needs to deal with them. But no, to answer your question, I'm not a doctor or nothing like that.
Okay, here is, and your pamphlet is "How to Ride the Crimson Wave," how to deal with a woman, how to communicate with a woman suffering from premenstrual syndrome.
That's right, and how to speak their language. If they're telling you, they're bitching you out, don't take it personally because they really mean that they want you to hold them and to be close to them.
Okay, here's Wichita on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am.
I wanted to comment a little bit here for Chris. Chris, sometimes when people tell you you're an insensitive jerk, it's because they believe that you are, and it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you have PMS or not. And I've just been amazed. I've never ever called a radio show
No.
before.
Can I just jump in?
Hold on just a minute, Chris.
But you're talking about.
I got something to share with you.
I understand, but you're talking about women who are not in their right mind either. A lot of times, am I right or wrong?
I think that is so funny. I think that most of us, regardless of what's going on, have an idea of what they're saying, and except for you, I have a question about whether or not you know what you're saying on any given day. I think
Ma'am,
it is so funny.
I've lived with 14. I lived with like 14, 15
Earlier
women.
it was 20. Earlier it was 20, and hun, you can't even count.
I'm talking about significant relationships.
Interesting.
No, significant relationships. I have about 14, 15 women.
How do you have 14 significant relationships in a lifetime? That tells me two things. You obviously do not connect with any women whatsoever.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Nobody
I think
has
it's a fair
that
question.
kind of time as young as you are.
Hold on, Chris. Let her say what she wants.
No, but I have a fair question to ask her. Are you premenstrual right now?
Absolutely not. If I was, you probably wouldn't be standing. I have never in my life heard such nonsense. anyone who orders your pamphlet or gives you any kind of credibility has a serious, serious problem.
Can I ask that lady, this is the host, Phil Hendrie, ma'am, what are the specific, are you saying, there's a part of his pamphlet here, he says, where a woman oftentimes will say hurtful and insensitive things in the throes of what you call, Chris, the menstrual sickness. She is often meaning the opposite. You're saying that's not true?
I'm saying
No,
that
of course
people,
she's going to say that.
Please, could you give me a second here? He asked me a question. I think that people often say when they're not feeling their best things that they may not mean entirely. I don't think any of us ever say the opposite of what we think. I think it's ludicrous to even insinuate that. You've got somebody here who talks about being good looking, has lived with a lot of women, and what it tells me is
I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to be honest.
If in fact you have lived with that many women, that says you have some issues about stability in your life.
Ma'am,
and
I'm not going to debate what your idea of morality is. Okay, I'm just talking about how to deal with a woman.
I didn't say anything about
If you don't like my, well, you're talking about how many relationships I have. I'm just saying that I had an intimate relationship with a woman once who said to me, I was feeling like I wanted to, get it on or whatever you want to call it, and she said, all you ever think about is sex. And I knew she wanted it more than ever before,
Well,
that was my experience.
You must be some sort of clairvoyant. Because when someone tells me that's all you think about...
She had the menstrual sickness.
She did.
Yeah.
Well, that clears it up for me.
Well, okay.
I just don't even think you're worth having a conversation with. Thanks a bunch.
See how
it's
pissed
been
off
enlightening.
she is? You see how pissed off she is?
Bye-bye.
That's what I got to deal with.
Oh, I know.
No,
and
I mean,
every
man
does.
And
I'm not
you know what, lady?
menstrual.
There's a lot of men out there right now who identify with me right now talking to you.
I hope they call in. I would really look forward to hearing their opinion.
If you don't like my lifestyle, go listen to Laura, okay? You don't like my lifestyle, go listen to the
I didn't like your lifestyle.
Go listen to the Dr. Laura show.
Well, whatever, man. I mean...
Well, this woman right here with that whole bitchy attitude she's got, well, listen to how she's bitching me out. Hello?
Who are you talking to, me or him?
I'm talking to you.
No, you said listen to her. She's bitching me out. I hardly think you're addressing me.
Okay, you should hang up. You should hang up. God, man, are you on the rag?
You're a very funny man.
No, you must be on the rag. Hang up.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, bye-bye.
Hang up. Hang up. Hang up.
Has she hung up? I guess she has. I would suggest something.
Yes, sir.
I would suggest that you ease it back a little bit, okay? And don't ask every woman that disagrees with you whether she's menstrual, okay?
I didn't ask every woman, okay?
Well, you did ask that lady, and I'm anticipating that you might ask more than just her. Here is Morgantown on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm calling from North Carolina.
Yes, hi.
I have a comment for Chris. He was going to get somebody shot.
How am I going to get someone shot? I'm trying to get men to understand women would have the menstrual sickness.
Okay, when I'm on my period, my boyfriend, he will say, honey, I'm so sorry. I wish I could make it better for you. But you know what? You can't. Don't come near me. Don't touch me.
See, that's the code, though, Phil. When they say don't touch me, don't come near me, they mean hold me like never before.
Okay, well, let me give you an example. Have you ever had kidney stones? Well, I've had kidney stones.
I know. I'm only 28.
Kidney stones are comparable
to
a woman's period.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
You had kidney stones?
When I was 25.
You ought to keep the fat out of your diet.
I'm working on that.
Okay.
But kidney stones is comparable to having your period, okay? When I'm on my period, I wish every man in the world would have kidney stones.
See what I mean? That's insane. That's insanity. And every woman would have the menstrual sickness has the insanity. So you have to cut through the insanity and know that what she really means. So if you was to say to a man, "Stay away from me," right?
Mm-hmm.
What you mean is please love me.
No, that's not what I mean.
Well, you said you want every man to go away. That's got to be insane.
No, it's not.
You want every man to go away?
Every man. I want not just men. I want everybody in the world to leave me alone. I want to go in my room, shut the door, lay on a heating pad. I don't want anybody to bother me.
You're nuts.
I'm nuts?
Yeah. And what you really need is a man to give it to you nice and sweet and slow